My mouth was agape a few moments ago when it looked like you were being attacked. Maybe attacked might be a strong word, or at least accosted by some Greek citizens there. What was going on?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't an attack. It was apparently a woman who's sort of well known for confronting the media and politicians in that way. As soon as the camera went off, she was very friendly. We took a photo together. There's definitely not an attack.
Okay, well, nothing like a selfie to bring people together, right? So, tell me though, Joe.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Everybody loves taking a selfie together.
Exactly, yeah, and there's peace. Okay, but there's not a lot of peace in the markets, and certainly not between the troika and new Greek leaders. One of whom is the new finance minister, Tsakalotos. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, I think the key story to bear in mind, or the key thing to think about, is that he is a far-left member of Syriza. This doesn't represent a major change in ideology. It's just that it's a change in style. So obviously Varoufakis had alienated a lot of the creditors with his style. And it's, a lot of people were saying that he alienated members of the own Syriza government. And so by the end of the referendum, he was isolated. And so the new guy, still, again, left-wing, but a different style. So maybe that opens up some possibilities for negotiations. I don't think this makes it easy. I don't think this was the main stumbling block. There are still big divides in terms of where the two sides are. Yeah. But perhaps discussions will be a little bit easier now.
Maybe. I mean, Varoufakis seemed to really enjoy, in a way, his antagonism with the Western European leaders. Joe, hang on. Ramy, you're looking at Coke Hellenic and what's going on with them.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the whole entire reason we're talking about them in the first place is because they're the biggest weighted equity on the Athens Stock Exchange at about 10%. And when you're looking at pictures right now coming out of Greece, you're thinking the sky is falling. But if you ask Coca-Cola, HBC as they're known now, they might be saying, Greek crisis? What Greek crisis? And the reason for this is because their share price has rallied year to date 27.6%. And this is because of diversification. When I first saw this, I thought, these numbers can't be right. I have to be calculating these wrong. But look at that chart right there. And this is Coke here in the U.S., actually, up 11% right now. But as I was saying, rallying over in Greece. And the reason for this, Betty, is because of diversification. Right now, Greece has a 5% exposure to Coca-Cola, or vice versa. Coca-Cola has a 5% exposure to Greece.
To Greece, yeah.
To Greece. But they're diversified across 28 countries in Eastern Europe, as well as Russia, as well as Nigeria. They're the main bottler and trader for most of Europe. And so if you look at the numbers, breaking it down, Russia turns out to be the highest percentage at 19%, then Italy, 13%, Nigeria, Poland, Romania, and then and only then Greece. So this diversification has a lot of investors saying, hey, this is really okay because they don't have that much of a stake, and we're seeing that in the share price.
So it sounds like Russia might be something that investors should be more worried about then?
Exactly, actually. And in terms of the volumes that have been coming out of Russia, basically over the past few years, the numbers are coming in between 2011 and 2012. They were up 10%. That's fine. Up between 2012 and 2013, up 4.6%. So we're seeing a fall. And then just in the past year, just 0.6%. And so this may be because of President Putin's politics, of course, the Ukrainian war that's going on. Right. And on the flip side of things, with Greece volumes, they've actually fallen. They've fallen 40% since 2008, but just this past year, and the first in at least the past 6 years, it's seen a rise of 2% coming out of that country. So we might have been seeing a hit at the bottom and maybe an inflection point.
Right, and we'll see more when more data comes in.
Exactly.
So speaking about leaders, we have Hollande and Merkel, who I believe are meeting just now in Paris. Is there anything that is expected out of those talks?
I think people hope that something could happen, but everyone keeps saying it's going to be a long shot. No one is particularly optimistic. You never know what kind of rabbit they could pull out of a hat, what kind of deal that could be made. But I don't think anyone is assuming that upcoming talks will be particularly successful.
In the meantime, Joe, I mean, what is life like? I mean, are people still at restaurants? Are there, are grocery stores still stocked? I mean, what exactly does it look like there?
Well, I always hesitate to extrapolate because where we are in central Athens is a fairly active area. Obviously, there's a lot of government stuff that continues. There's a fair amount of tourism, and it's a central area. All the media is here, of course. So in the center of Athens, you'd think you're in a, very normal situation. There are people out at coffee shops. There's certainly no outward sign of panic. In the street, in the square yesterday, where there was the huge party-like atmosphere, it looks like a normal center of a square in the city. So I'm sure that there are things that are much more stressful in terms of society elsewhere. But I have to say, right here in the center of Athens, in the main sort of government district, you wouldn't really notice anything particularly unusual.
All right. And before we go, Ramy, what about this Greek ETF that is still trading? I mean, Julie mentioned that as well earlier.
Right. So basically, if investors want to get exposure to Greece, I'm not sure why they might, but if in case they are...
Daredevils.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be ready for some volatility, but it's called the Global X FTSE Greece 20. And it's available, it trades in New York right here. It mirrors the 20 biggest stocks on the Athens Stock Exchange, of course, Coca-Cola, HBC being the top amongst them. But it hasn't been doing so well year to date or in the past year. For example, in the past year, it's gone down 52%. Just year to date, it's gone down 25%. In the past 3 months, it's down 19%. So again, not sure why people would want to go to, but if you want to, high risk, high reward.